Hello folks, welcome to another episode of Tweepers Tech. Today we are going to be looking at some of the driving games on the Android Play Store. I myself am a big driving fan. I've been playing driving games since the 80s, so the NES days were the first days for me. I want Super Off-Road, that was my first game. I moved on to Micro Machines, Skid Marks, went into Burnout games, Lotus Turbo Challenge, Gran Turismo's, all the Need for Speeds, and even to this day, at the age of 35, coming on to 36, I like to play the latest edition from Forza on the Xbox One. So it's only natural for me to choose some driving games on the Android Play Store. I've got a few games that I do enjoy, and I want to go through a quick glance at some of them. It's not an in-depth review, and also bear in mind I look at games that are fun, and that is the key thing. They're not necessarily the most realistic, they're not necessarily a simulator. I like to keep those experiences to my current console. So we're looking at some fun games, just a quick glance. And the first one we're going to look at today is Mini Motor Racing. This is probably one of the first games I played on the Play Store, and it's been going around for quite some time. Apologise, I have turned the audio off on the games. I'm recording this via an app where it screen records everything that I show, but I've not managed to suss out how to keep the game audio on as well as me talking away. So unfortunately, you're stuck with my voice. But let's have a look at some of the options on this game. I believe this game itself was 84 pence. I'll just check. My apologies, I just checked that was actually 64 pence. Anyway, let's look at the controls. You've got the tank layout, the left and right, and the nitrous in the middle. You've got the toggle mode, which is slightly different. I do prefer tank, it's a little bit easier, but you do have the slider option as well. Or I would normally keep auto accelerator off, but for demonstrating purposes, I'm going to keep that on as I'm not great at multitasking. Let's give that a shot. We'll go to quick race. This is quite a colourful game. In terms of customization, you are limited to just a few things like changing the colour of the car. Let's go for... change it up a bit more. Yeah, that'll do. I think the closest game that I could compare this to is like a modern day version of Skid Marks, if you remember that title from the Amiga 500. This is probably the closest thing to it, and I believe for 64 pence, this is probably the best value for money for a little pick up and play racer. The idea is just to get from A to B, beat everyone else, pick up all the power ups. You do start off with a little bit of nitrous. I think you get 5 bottles. And the idea is to be smart and use nitrous at the straights. I wouldn't really advise it to use it on turns, but if you need to, so be it. As you can see, it's quite competitive. This is, this is the first level. Oh, I used my nitrous a bit prematurely there. But you get the idea. The view is quite good looking. It's a colourful game, and you can imagine even with the sound on, it'll be a lot more fun to enjoy. As you progress, you can pick up pickups and upgrades. You can unlock cars, and there are a lot of levels on this game. But before I embarrass myself even more, I'm going to stop there. Okay, the next game we're looking at is Mediocre. Oh, it's not. Apologies. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart there. It's actually called Does Not Commute. I've literally downloaded this game 2 days ago. I'm still getting used to it. But this game itself, like most games, are free with adverts, and you can play up to £2 to continue save progress. Because I did progress on this game on a trial period, and when I went back, I couldn't progress. I had to start from the beginning. So I felt like I had no choice but to give them their £2. But give you an idea, this is like a strategy racing game. You've got you've got a handful of cars that need to get from A to B, and all you've really got to do is just direct them. You've got 60 seconds, and you've got your left and right controls on the screen. They're not showing at the moment, but they do pop up from time to time. I think because this is the tutorial stage, it might be a little bit different. But as you can see, you run out of time eventually, and as you progress, you want to get as many of these coins to give yourself a bit more time. It looks simple enough, but as you progress, it does get harder and harder. You do come across more traffic, you do come across more obstacles. See, the touchpad directions have returned. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. Am I playing that? As you can see, I've made a mistake, but have no fear, you can rewind, You lose a second, but I'm willing to sacrifice that. Let's see if I can get that right again. There we go. And this just gives you an idea of what this game is all about. Um, if this feels like it's something you can justify for £2, if not, you've got the free version, but you're not really going to progress anywhere. And that is Does Not Commute. Okay, number 3 is Extreme Wheels. Just go to the... oh, might as well carry on. Basically, this is the closest thing you can find to Trials HD, Trials Evolution, on the Xbox Live Marketplace. They're very popular games, and this is the closest thing I can find to that. Now, there is an actual Trials game on the App Store called Trials Frontier. I personally don't think it's as good, and obviously I'm not really justifying myself as a motorbike racer here. Let's see if I can... No, okay. No, not great at all. But it's quite simple in terms of direction and controls. You've got your brake, you've got your accelerator, and you're using the accelerometer to control where you're going. Come on. Oh dear. Let's try one more time. Oh, they let me have it. As you can see, it gets quite tricky. You do lose your patience sometimes with this game, but it's quite satisfying when you finish a level, like so. So that is Extreme Racing. This version is free, you get the adverts, but if you want to get rid of the adverts, I believe it's about £1. Extreme Racing, great game. Okay, now here we have is Tabletop Racing. This is a game I came across just about a month or so ago, and it cost £1.99 for the full version. Well, I'm currently using the free version, which is still pretty good. Combination of micro machines meets wacky races. It's not that wacky, but it's the closest thing you're going to find to it. Before we carry on, we'll show you some of the options. On the controls, you've either got the simple touchpad controls or you've got the tilt. On this particular one, I prefer the simple controls. You can turn the audio off and on. You can play around the GFX, which is something to do with the processor power. I've just kept it in normal. And if we go to a race, we'll give you an idea as to what it looks like. So it's quite a colourful looking game. The idea is to just pick up power-ups. You can drop mines, you can throw home missiles, things like that, EMP shocks, just to get your way through the race. And it is quite a competitive racing game. Seems simple and instant enough, but it is quite tough. As you can see, I've got the touchpad controls, quite easy to control. Someone's just giving me some kind of a shock there. Get as many of these boxes as you can. I'll plant a bomb for someone. Get a little thunder. That should cause a bit of havoc. Try and avoid as many of these impacts as you can. Oh, that wasn't too good, was it? There we go. Let's get one of these. Bit of nitrous, never hurts. But you can see it's quite a colourful looking game, and it is very reminiscent of the Micro Machines kind of theme, especially when you change the view, like so. Only thing about this view is, as good as it looks, it does restrict your view a little bit, like you will see. Wasn't quite ready for that. It's just, you have to concentrate a little bit more. For some reason, the turn just seems a bit more tighter. So you're actually getting yourself into a bit of trouble, because at times on the maps you can see my obstruction is my view is being obstructed a little bit. But it's still fun anyway. And that is Tabletop Racing, folks. Okay, next up we got ourselves a game from EA, Need for Speed Most Wanted. It's been out for a while also. This did cost me £3, and it was the first time I spent that kind of money on an app. Obviously, it came out at the same time as the console version. I was very disappointed with the remake of Need for Speed Most Wanted. I was a big fan of the version in 2007 that was on the original Xbox 360. This version I don't think did it any justice, but however, I have enjoyed this on the Android platform, and on a nice big tablet with a Bluetooth controller, you can't go wrong. Um, I'll just go to a race to give you an idea. Most of you are aware with Need for Speed games, the soundtracks are pretty good. I know I've turned the audio off, but they never seem to disappoint with the soundtracks on Need for Speed games, and that's something that's continued with. Let's go for the Challenger, why not? So I think this is quite a pretty good looking game. Graphics and visuals are really nice, and its frame rate is really smooth. This is one of the games that does take up a bit of battery. I can feel my phone getting a little bit warm playing this game at times. It's not something that you can play for half an hour most of the time. But I've got it on auto accelerator at the moment. I'm using the accelerometer to steer the car. For nitrous, I just slide up like so, and I'll turn into the turns. But you can also do a drift. So if you put your finger on the right hand side of the glass and you drift to the direction, there we go. Drift King, baby. Oh, spoke too soon. Okay. And this particular level, I think I'm just doing like a time trial, but I believe I might get some company in a minute if I'm lucky. Should have a police car coming up anytime now. There we go. I can see him on a map. And this point here, he's got a bit of a burnout, knockout sort of feel here. As you can, oh no, he's not letting me have it. It's a tough one, but it's quite satisfying when you do knock him out. Let's see, he might catch up to me. Where are you? Oh no. Gotta be close. Right. There you go. That is quite satisfying. Took long enough, but we got there eventually. And that, folks, is pretty much what Need for Speed Most Wanted is about. If you're willing to spend £3 on it, why not? You won't be disappointed. Okay, so that brings me to my last game, Crazy Taxi, that was originally on the Dreamcast. This version, they've incorporated the original Offspring soundtrack that everyone wanted. Now, this particular version, I don't remember how much I paid for this. I bought it such a long time ago, but it was a reasonable price. Everyone was getting quite excited when Sega started putting their games on the Play Store, but I've since then heard that they're going to be removing a lot of their games, so we're going to get them while you can, and this is definitely one to keep. This also does have Bluetooth support. I've used my Moga controller on this and it works absolutely fine. But it's still just as easy on a touch control, which is quite rare to find with a driving game. Crazy Taxi is quite simply crazy if you haven't played it before. Let's go with Axel. You can see here you've got reverse and drive and the directions. It's that simple. Go to the customer. Oh, stop by pressing reverse. I would recommend to turn off the vibrate on this. It drains the battery a little bit. It's quite a hefty vibration. And just get to the destination as quick as possible, really. Brake. Go. You can also do a thing called Crazy Drift, which I remember. You press reverse and then quickly press drive, but I haven't quite mastered it. It's been a while. Been a while since the Dreamcast days. I do miss that thing. Great times, good times. Is that a drift? No, I still don't know what I'm doing, but as long as you get to the destination on time, as you can see, time runs out in the arcade mode. That you have the option to choose a longer period, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you need. That was close. Just keep the customers happy, get them where they need to be done. And that, folks, is Crazy Taxi. Obviously, I haven't got the audio one, so you wouldn't be able to appreciate the Offspring soundtrack, but it is on here, and it's worth just for that, to be honest, because it brings back some good memories. Right, that's Crazy Taxi. Okay, so I appreciate your time and taking your time to watch my video. I know there are a list of other games that I've not included on this, i.e. Real Racing 3, but the idea was I wanted to pick games that were very easy to play, pick up and play, and that's what I was looking for. Please, feel free to make some recommendations of games that you think I might like, and please leave some comments. Stay tuned to the next episode of Tweeter's Tech. Thank you.